Time now for the play of the day. Brought to you by Geico.
In Cleveland, James Cook takes the handoff from Josh Allen. He promptly goes 44 yards for the score. James would outrun the Browns' Tyson Campbell to get into the end zone. For the season, it was Cook's 11th rushing touchdown and 9th 100-yard game.
It feels good to Geico.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome to the NFL Today update delivered by Little Caesars. JB here along with Coach Nate and Matt. Coming up next, most of you will see a major matchup in Motown as Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers get set to face Jared Goff and the Lions, while some will see the Texans hosting the Raiders. As we come inside just to get the thoughts of those who watched and take a look at the AFC playoff picture, Nate.
Yeah, that's right, JB. You have the Broncos. They want to hold on to that #1 seed. They face the Jags in a big one, the Patriots. With the Bills winning, the Pats, they need to win. And then you have the Jags. They're top of the South with the Texans on their heels, and then the Steelers the same with the Ravens. So, Matt, what do we got in the NFC North?
All right. Well, in the NFC North, we got Chicago
NFC.
on top. But in the NFC playoff picture, Seattle, Philadelphia, and L.A. have clinched playoff berths. Carolina moves on top of the NFC South with their win over the Bucks. We've got Detroit coming up here in a bit. That is a critical game to keep pace in that wild card hunt.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's talking about the Buffalo Bills. I mean, probably not a clean game, I would say, by any measure, but I thought that defensively they got after Shador, particularly in the second half with the blitz, made him uncomfortable in the pocket. And again, it was a running game. Josh Allen did not turn the football over. When he has not turned the football over all year, they have won every one of those games. So, again, he doesn't try to do too much, but he just does enough to keep them going with his legs, with his arm. And James Cook, I mean, you can't say enough about what he's done in this game and what he's done for this football team all year long. 100 yards in the first half, not as much in the second half. But again, you can see he leads the National Football League with 9 games of 100-plus yards. This team goes through the run game, goes through James Cook and Josh Allen. This guy's a special guy with what he's able to do. Watch him right here. The cut, the speed, the acceleration. He's got great vision. I think that's the thing you love about this guy. He can stop on a dime. He can jump cut with anybody. And then he gets into the open. You just can't catch him. His speed takes over from there. Very dynamic player with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, you're right. There's certain runners, when they get the ball in their hands, they're looking at the defenders, and they're usually hit by the defenders. James Cook is always keeping his eyes upfield, where the next move should be or where the lane is, and his body follows suit. You can make the argument that he's the most consistent player on this team.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it. This game is anchored by a strong running game, and then when Josh uses his legs and takes care of the football, this is just a tough game to beat. Ugly win? Sure. I mean, listen, it's December football.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
A dub is a dub.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we got to give Joe Brady some credit, their offensive coordinator. I think this has been a shift in how they play offensive football. They have gone from a team that's reliant on Josh to being able to spin it around and throw it to some of these guys out in space. But they are a power run football team now. We saw the flip to the edge, but most of the day it was downhill running. I give Joe a lot of credit in shifting into that direction.
Who actually thought about the number of victories versus losses that Sean McDermott would get with or without glasses?
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, folks, and we welcome you back to the NFL Today update as we take a look. Those of you who were watching, Kansas City Chiefs and Tennessee. Tennessee comes away with the victory, 26-29. Cam Ward gets the win over the Chiefs, and I guess we should be expecting these kind of challenges for Kansas City down the stretch.
Yeah, and I just give a lot of credit to the Tennessee Titans for Cam Ward. These guys have been playing like this all year long. Jeffrey Simmons, a big play in the first half of this game. And we keep talking about Cam Ward, his development with where he's at. He's flashing some things, maybe not as consistent as you would want them.
Yeah.
The people around him, the experience is invaluable for him moving forward in terms of where he's at, because he flashes some very good plays a lot of times.
I was going to say, you can say these games don't matter, and they don't matter for the outcome of this season. It matters a lot for Cam Ward.
There you go.
It matters a lot for his progression. You talk about it today. 2 touchdown passes, really good completion percentage, over 200 yards passing. I've looked at him all year and thought his toughness has never been in question. He shows up week after week and answers the bell. His consistency is starting to get a little bit better. So I look at it as this really matters for a young player like this, and this can lead to productive, planning in the offseason for him as they get a new staff coming in. But there's a place for him to take off.
And Mike McCoy's done a great job. But these guys are playing hard
Yeah.
week in and week out. He took over as the interim head coach. He's got these guys playing very, very well.
Yeah, it's the school of the hard knocks.
Yes.
My man has been through it. He's been under duress all season long. Every single game, we see him running for his life, which, gives him the ability to, one, show his legs and then throw off of different pivots. He has made some really impressive throws. I mean, some of the best throws we've seen all season, but that gives me hope that when he does have a solid offensive line and a good offensive scheme and can drop back in a clean pocket and really have time to just settle his feet, go through his progressions, and make plays. With what I saw this year, I feel like his future is really bright.
I think there's one other player who's in a similar situation and an organization who's in a similar spot, and that was on our network today, the New Orleans Saints. Tyler Shuck is doing the same thing. I think consistently showing up, showing his toughness. Kellen Moore's doing a very good job of keeping that organization together,
100%.
keeping them moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
A shout out to Kellen as well.
Yeah, I mean, finishing the season strong has a lot to do with how you go into the next year, and he's done that the second half of this season.
Yeah, and they let the young fella throw that rock.
Yes.
We're going to figure out what you got.
30-some pass attempts, that's a ton.
Yeah.
I just hope Cam Ward gets a little rest after the season, because one thing's for sure, he's in shape. The way they
He
run him.
definitely is.
Well, Matt Ryan was talking about what Kellen Moore is doing there with the Saints. They come away victorious over the New York Jets, 29-6, and a lot of folks were cheering on Mr. Cam Jordan down there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about the career that Cam has had and whether or not this was his last home game as a New Orleans Saint. I'm the recipient of a lot of sacks in that dome.
Yeah.
And he had a couple more today, which was impressive. We were talking about Tyler Shuck to the audience that just joined us before.
About 50 times, man.
Yeah, his performance today I thought was rock solid. You talk about throwing rhythm and timing out routes right there to Chris Olave. You talk about dropping back and then navigating this pocket, throwing the ball down the sideline in between defenders. He does that very well right there. And again, all this from the middle of the pocket, going down over the top, finds an open Chris Olave, which is what you want to see when you're a young quarterback. Guys running wide open. But you said it, Nate. Almost 50 pass attempts, 49 pass attempts right there, over 300 yards passing, but a clean sheet. No INTs, no turnovers. That part of it is huge for a young player. I think there's something to build on with him right here. It's good to see Chris Olave starting to play good football again as well, because this is a dynamic pass catcher on the outside.
And it helps when a quarterback is throwing the ball as much as he is. You saw that touchdown and him recognizing where to go immediately. And he said, it's good to see that when you're a young quarterback, seeing guys run wide open. But it's a lot easier said than done. I know it's a simple play, but when you can recognize the coverage, you understand schematically where you're supposed to go with the ball, and then it turns out that the play comes open just like you practice it, you want to see a young guy make that throw within rhythm, and you can see week by week, Shuck is getting more and more comfortable in this offense and just being a pro quarterback. It takes a little bit of time, especially when you're playing for a team that is struggling, that isn't playing for anything.
And they've just won 3 games in a row,
There you
2
go.
of them against divisional opponents. So I'm going to tell you right now, so they are going to finish this season and trying to finish this season on a high.
That's a big deal, Coach.
A real big deal, particularly for a guy like Tyler Shuck, who came in the second half of this year and he took over quarterback. The growth he's gone through, the growth the team has gone through, that's something you can take into the offseason and build on to next year, no question.
All right, this is a doubleheader Sunday that we have here on CBS. Coming up next, most of you will see a major matchup that in Nate's old territory in Motown as Aaron Rodgers leads the Steelers. Oh, folks, get set to face Jared Goff and the Lions, while some of you will see the Texans, red hot indeed, hosting the Raiders.
Yeah, there's Aaron Rodgers. He's familiar playing in Detroit. He's coming off maybe his best start as a Steeler last week against the Dolphins. I expect him to continue that good play this afternoon.
And Jared Goff, he understands what is at stake. His offense is going to rely on his ability to get his playmakers going and also play some clean football by not turning it over.
And this is running back Kenneth Gainwell, who suddenly has become now the leading receiver in terms of receptions. 57 receptions on the year, team high one right there. Kenneth Gainwell has been a game maker, a game breaker right now for these guys the last couple of weeks.
Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a threat every time he has the ball in his hands. Second in the NFL entering today in terms of touchdowns from scrimmage. Absolute game breaker, incredible speed when he gets in the open field.
And there's DK Metcalf. Listen, when he's one-on-one coverage, you know the ball is going up to him. They're starting to really catch a rhythm. Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf getting on the same page. It's not just the one-on-one throws. It's also playing within the scheme of each play and making sure you run the right route.
There's your guy, Nate Amon-Ra St. Brown. This guy has been sensational this year. 94 receptions, 11 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards receiving. The go-to guy right now, as you talk about with Jared Goff, great route runner and great with run after the catch.
Patrick Queen, he is a tackling machine. 4 straight seasons with over 100+ tackles. He is going to need everything he has today to keep that Lions run game in check.
Yeah, you want to talk about an absolute destructicon. Aiden Hutchinson can do it all. Just getting him back on the field changes the dynamic of this defense. He can come off the edge. He can drop into coverage. Wherever the ball is, Aiden Hutchinson will be there.
The other you're going to see this game, the Raiders and the Texans, and that's C.J. Stroud coming off maybe one of his better performances. 3 touchdown game last week, 250 yards. This guy's got them guys playing well, and we know what that defense can do.
CJ, he's going to be looking for this guy all day. Nico Collins practicing his sellies. He thinks he's going to get into the end zone. Already over 1,000 yards on the season with 6 touchdowns. Explosive receiver for the Texans.
Yeah, when this man is on the field, opposing quarterbacks, they better watch out. I mean, this man is relentless, physical at the point of attack, very explosive, overwhelms blockers when they are in his way.
On the other side, Nate, that's Danielle Hunter. And this guy's got 12 sacks, leads the team. This dynamic duo right here, I'll tell you, they're pretty special. You're talking like Russian, the quarterback.
Yeah. You know, whenever I was doing Nate's Monday morning shows, we stopped doing whatever Nate was teaching me with it.
The handshake?
I mean, but these guys, I mean, talking about...
they got one for every teammate.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, you know what? We talked about styles making fights, certainly in the world of boxing. Styles will certainly make the difference in this game with Pittsburgh as well, too, in terms of contrasting styles.
Yeah, and I think this is still going to be a game of running the trenches. You're talking about, again, a team that likes to run the football in the Detroit Lions, a team that's had trouble stopping the run, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it'll be a lot be determined there. This Pittsburgh Steelers team got to get off to a good start. They're not a team that can come from behind, so I think getting off to a good start and scoring early will be a very, very important part of this game.
You said it, JB, styles make fights. Sometimes you got to dictate the style. I think Detroit, if you want to play this game the way you want to play it, you want to get into a track meet. You want to get this into who can score the most points. We look at the numbers right here in the quarterback comparison. Clearly the advantage to the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, more yards, more touchdowns, less interceptions. Top 3 in those 2 categories coming into the game today. But they also have the ability to be explosive in the run game. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, I think you want to make this game as short as possible. Limit the number of possessions. Try and make it ugly. Try and make it physical. And try and limit the number of opportunities Detroit has on the offensive side of the ball to go score points.
Yeah, this is a heavyweight bout. And I'm not talking about in the Anthony Joshua or Jake Paul way. I'm talking about old school, late 80s, early 90s. These are 2 fighters that, you know, with Detroit, there's a lot of punches and bunches. And like you said, they're going to get a lot of plays out there, put the ball in the hands of their playmakers and try to make it a track meet. On the flip side, you have Aaron Rodgers. And like we always say, the last thing to leave is a puncher's strength. So he can hit you with a shot at any time that changes the complexion of the game. Now, they're going to kind of pepper the ball down the field. Kenneth Gainwell has always been that guy that kind of gets the offense going when they struggle. But this is a game that really is about dictating one style and opposing that on the other defense.
And the Pittsburgh offense has come into its own these last couple of weeks. Why? The deep ball. The deep ball of DK Metcalf has come back into the offense again, particularly on the outside. And right now, we know the Detroit Lions, they're limited in the back end because a lot of the injuries they've had have been in the secondary. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to do that, because that has been the thing that's propelled this offense the last few weeks has been the deep ball of DK Metcalf.
And let's be very clear. If it's one-on-one coverage, that ball's going up.
Yeah.
That's old school football. You know that. I mean, you had a guy like Julio Jones. Listen, you don't overcomplicate it.
No. You make it as simple as you can. If he's one-on-one, the ball's going up in the air. I think we can all agree that both defenses, both Detroit and Pittsburgh, have probably been disappointing on balance for the entire year. I think whichever one of these defenses starts to step up, and there's injuries on the Detroit side that they've got to overcome, but whichever one, and same being said for the Steelers as well, guys that they're not going to have available to them, whichever one of these units steps up and is able to kind of slow down on the other side, I think is the advantage in this game today.
Yeah, and what I saw from this Detroit offense early in the season, there wasn't as much fluidity as I saw last year. But you're starting to see this offense really take shape, get comfortable with the play call and understanding who they are. Oh, man, but look at that fella right there, Coach. That's who the offense really runs through.
That's Darnell. That's the big man. That's
Mount Washington is what they call
Mount
him.
Washington, 320 pounds. And again, I think when you look at this game, and you're right, man, I think the biggest thing Pittsburgh may want to do in this game is to get the running game going, to slow down the pass rush, because I think Aaron Rodgers, the last couple of weeks, he's had some time in that pocket. When he has time in the pocket, he can pick you apart in the secondary. That will be a big key to what they're doing, having balance. And again, on the other side, I think the biggest question right now, can that Pittsburgh defense, they don't have T.J. Watt, they don't have Nick Herbert. Can they get pressure on Jared Goff in the passing game? But more importantly, can they slow down that running game with, we're talking about
Jahmyr Gibbs, yeah. Well, I think that's the key. I think you said it. If you slow down this Detroit offense, it has to be by moving Jared Goff off the spot. Yeah. He's excellent when he is in rhythm, in timing. He's able to come off that play action pass and let that ball go when his back foot hits the spot. But when he doesn't, when he has to move, they don't have the ability to kind of extend plays and get that second opportunity in a play. So I'm thinking they send it. I think Mike Tomlin needs to be aggressive today. Whether you're in those run blitzes or you're in pass protection blitzes, you've got to go after and try and move this guy right here, Jared Goff, off the spot.
And that's why play calling is important, because if Jared Goff, this offensive line, and of course the playmakers recognize when the blitz is coming, where it's coming from, not only can you create a big play, you can gash them for a touchdown. And as far as the running game, you know, when we talk about the run game, it has really changed. It takes on different shapes and sizes depending on the team. It's not just about handing the ball off and running in between the tackles. The running game comes in the form of screenplays. It comes in the form of short distance, intermediate routes. And that's what I love about both of these teams. You know, when it comes to the Steelers, Gainwell is really the extension of the run game when we're talking about quick passes, getting the ball into his hands. And then Detroit, they can dial up some really creative plays. They get the ball in the hands of their playmakers in and around the line of scrimmage.
And you look at this defense for Pittsburgh Steelers, when they are playing well and they are winning, they're getting turnovers.
Yep.
They give up a lot of yards, but they get a lot of turnovers. Kyle Duggar and Jalen Ramsey in the back end are going to have to be solid in terms of their tackling. Joey Porter's made some good tackles the last 2 weeks. That secondary is going to get tested right here, not only just in the passing game, but also in the running game, because Jahmyr Gibbs can get to the next level very quickly.
Coach, one of the things you mentioned with respect to watching the game yesterday with the Philadelphia and Washington, you said there's nothing wrong that the coach, Nick Sirianni, was still tweaking at this late point in the season. Aaron Rodgers and what he has there in Pittsburgh this late in the season.
I very much the same way, JB.
Go ahead.
Right. I think you said Arthur Smith has somehow found this nice little niche with Aaron Rodgers in terms of, like I said, the deep ball has gotten back into the game. And I think, again, Kenneth Gainwell gives him something in this screen game and that short dump-off game that he gets a lot of extra yards as well. So I think controlling the ball, time of possession, go back to the same thing, keeping that Detroit offense off the field, keeping that defense, which is a little bit depleted, particularly at the front end, in terms of not having TJ, not having Nick Herbert. That's going to be very, very important for them to do that. So time of possession is going to be a big part of this game as well.
I think even starting Thursday night and watching through the weekend, aggressive play by coaches on fourth downs has been a trend of the entire weekend. And I am curious to see.
Well, we know what Dan Campbell.
I know, Dan Campbell. How aggressive are we going to be? And on the opposite side, Mike Tomlin, the same thing. We talk about shortening that game. Is he going to be aggressive in certain situations to try and keep that Detroit offense off the field?
So may I say something about Mike Tomlin?
Yep.
You lose these two games, you can still win a division.
Exactly.
I throw caution to the wind right now.
Go for
Come out and do some things unconventional in what you've done.
Break your own tendencies.
Yes, maybe come after them and blitz. Put those corners back out there on a little bit of an island. Make sure Jared Goff does not get comfortable back there doing it. 8-man fronts, take him away. Make Jared Goff beat you. That's the thing I would do in this game.
Yeah, and I don't think Dan Campbell has that luxury that Mike Tomlin has, because on the Detroit side, you are chasing. Yeah. You don't have the luxury of playing outside of maybe
with house money.
Yes, exactly, for those two games, because the Green Bay Packers, they still sit in front of you. Did they come back a step last night with that loss to Chicago? Of course they did, but you got a great opportunity right here if you're Detroit to get back in that wild card race, to make a push to get back into the playoffs. And this is a group that has been experienced making runs into the playoffs. I think they get there, they could get hot and make a run.
Yeah, another thing we're not talking about as much, but it definitely applies to these two teams, is not just the aggressive play calling, but the aggressive play of the actual athletes on the field. I know you're saying it's football. Guys are great. No, not necessarily, man. Not every game is as physical as the other. And we all know this. When it comes to Detroit and Pittsburgh, it's a whole different ballgame, especially with the stakes, playoff implications, and these two teams in particular. When I was playing for the Minnesota Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Detroit Lions, I played against both versions of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coach Cowher Steelers and also Tomlin Steelers. And one thing is consistent. Them dudes fly around like no other. I remember going into halftime one game thinking to myself, what the hell did this coaching staff say to their team that has these guys so angry? I did not get it. And then another player, you remember Tyrone Carter?
Yeah.
Tyrone Carter came over and played with me, and I asked him about how he was coached. He said, we're coached to play aggressively from the start of the game to the very end. So that's another thing we're going to pay attention to. When you're at home watching this game, enjoying it, watch how these dudes fly around and try to send a message with every single hit.
Pittsburgh's got to try to change this narrative that's taken place late in the season. And right now they got a chance to do this against a premier team in the Detroit Lions. Right now, this is a lot to prove, just from a cultural standpoint.
Speaking of changing the narrative, Drew Kaliski wants to know, is there any truth to the fact that at this late moment, Jerome Bettis might be going out to let the referees know whether they want heads or
Oh, man.
Wow,
Back in Detroit.
Way to ruin my November Thanksgiving. I'll tell you, thanks, JB. It's a great memory. The one that, matter of fact, we lost that game, and it was and we never won a game after that. So thank you for that.
All off that coin toss.
Yeah, off the coin toss.
All off the coin toss.
It's actually one of the worst Christmases I ever had because I also hit a deer like the night before our last.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, so it was just like it was not good.
Man, that took a dark turn.
Well, JB brought up the coin toss. We lost that game, too.
Hey, no, I'm giving the credit to Drew Kaliski, our excellent producer. He mentioned
Super producer.
Matt Ryan.
JB.
Bob Matita said, don't even put me in the midst of this.
But then Aaron Rodgers did throw a Hail Mary.
Yes.
In that same
And
Detroit.
So let's go down that memory path. Hey, how about positive notes?
So good to see and hear Bill Cowher smiling. Enjoy the game. We'll see you at halftime. Drew.